Hi gang, Rob here. It is the evening of 7 March 2016 and I've got a knife review for you guys tonight, and frankly it's one I'm pretty excited about. These are two variations of the new 2016 production of the Great Eastern Cutlery number 85 bullet end jack. And I'm going to put a link in the description for my original video on this pattern. It was one of our traditional knives anthology videos that I do in conjunction with Steve at How About the Truth. And his was from the last run they did of 85s, and the year that they did them escapes me. It seems like it was 2012 or 13. And it's just about the best looking pocket knife I've ever seen. Now, that run did several variations and blade combinations, but the one that Steve had was a single blade liner lock, which wasn't my preferred blade combination. So I'm going to get some of this clutter out of the way, get the tubes out of the way, and one of the knives, and I'm going to kind of walk you around this pattern showing you this knife. So Steve's was, as I said, a single blade, and they were spears, just like this blade. That gorgeous swollen spear blade with that machine swedge and the long match striker pull. And I am not a spear point guy. You guys may know that. But I don't care if you're a spear point guy or not. That is one sexy pocket knife blade. And super functional too. It's got a decent point without being something you're going to stick yourself with. And it is broad and thinly ground, so it's a great slicer. And just plenty of belly and lots of room to be sharpened over the years. Just a great looking knife. And it's sort of customary on the 85 to make them with the easy open notch. So you have that big broad spear point blade that's easy to open without even using the pull. And using the easy open feature way out at the front of the blade like that, it's about a 7 pull, a light 7, maybe even a 6, a solid 7 if you come back and grab the long pull just because of the length of the lever. Now some of you may remember Steve called his knife his white Cadillac knife because it was in smooth ivory bone, which is bone, not ivory, for those of you playing along at home. And it was just gorgeous, just gorgeous. And I was really hoping, well, here, a little bit of history of me and this pattern. I tried when I visited GEC a year ago, I explored the idea of doing a special factory order, and I'll tell you how I would have done it as we start walking around this knife. And they said, maybe you don't need to do that. And Bill Howard sort of winked at me. And then I sort of kept tabs on the production schedule for 85s, and I was informed that Mike Latham at CollectorKnives.net has a lifetime lock on the Northfield version of the 85, so, which is okay because I didn't have to spend any money to get these. And frankly, they're almost exactly like I would have had them made. You'll remember on Steve's knife, the shield was a cloud shield. They've gone to the corset shield in this run, and I think it looks great. So here's sort of the rest of the story. 3 3/4 inch knife closed with the main blade 2 11/16 inches long. Secondary blade, which, look at that. It's a coping blade, and a doggone good looking coping blade it is. with a crescent match striker nick. isn't that cool? Remember, you saw that on this channel because I think you're going to see it again. Whoa. Okay, so that's our blade combination. Here's what I would have done. If I could have done an SFO in 85s, I would have done this exact blade combination with match striker nick and match striker long pull, satin finish, no etch, just like this one. Lined and pinched bolsters, corset shield. The only thing I would have done different is I would have made them again in smooth ivory bone, and I would have made them in Gabon ebony. And I was frankly a little disappointed when these came out at the cover options. This is Autumn Gold Smooth Bone. And mine, I think, and I got this today, they're probably all spoken for. You can try going on collectorknives.net to see if there are any left. Usually if you wait a few days till Mike processes his returns, his extras that he didn't tell anybody about become available. So keep your eye on collectorknives.net for the next week or two to see if any of these pop up, because I bet they will. But anyway, as I was watching the pictures throughout the production of this knife on GEC's website, I saw these cover materials that I had reserved, and I was not pleased. I thought the autumn gold jigged bone looked kind of washed out. And I hope my camera is doing it justice, because this one is not washed out. It's actually quite pretty, and I'm pretty happy to have it. You know, it almost has a tortoise shell kind of look on the mark side, and then on the pile side it's just sort of a more consistent smooth bone pattern that's been dyed. Your darkest area is normally going to be down the middle, and then where they shape it, it gets lighter. But some nice character and figuring on the mark side, which I think is great. So I didn't get my smooth ivory bone, and I didn't get my Gabon ebony. I think cover options were this smooth autumn gold bone, Brazilian bloodwood. I think there was a stag, and then there's this natural matte finish micarta, canvas micarta, and we'll talk more about this as we go along. And the knives, again, as I always say about Mike Latham's SFOs, way too cheap. These were like $90 for a Northfield trim, two-bladed, swedged, long match striker pull jackknife. And it is that sort of sweet size. It's about the same size as the 77 and 78 frames. The right size to go in your pocket, not too big that it becomes obtrusive, but not too small that it can't work. I just love them. Check out the gorgeous pinched and lined bolsters. Well, let's look at our build quality. Where do I always go first on a GEC knife? Transitions at the corners, bolsters to covers, and they nailed these. There is no catch whatsoever on any of these 8 corners. Let's check the other one. Amazing. That's the best I've ever seen from GEC. Let's look at our back springs, where they terminate. Get you straight on. It looks like the secondary spring comes around a little farther than the primary. I don't know. I think that might be a camera lens illusion, because when I don't look through the viewfinder, they look really straight. Blade centering on both blades is right on the money. super well done. So let's look at our back springs at the pivot end. Totally flush when closed. We'll open the coping blade to half stop. Just a little proud at half stop. Back to dead flush closed. Main blade. More than a little proud at half stop, which is never a big deal. It's just that just sort of falls where it may, given a desired pull weight. So I never really worry about that much. And then we're back to dead flush at open. Just don't really know how you can do much better. And let's look at our satin. I have to wipe here. Better wipe her down, because the satin on these is just gorgeous. One area that I've noticed GEC having a little trouble with their satin over the last couple of years is in the swedge, and they really nailed these. The satin in the swedge, it matches very nicely the satin on the main bevel, which is great. Then look at the blade grind. These are sharpened by me, of course, as soon as I got them home. 18 degrees per side. Super skinny. And nice and straight, even width bevel, tip to hilt. That is the precision of the bevel grinders at Great Eastern Cutlery, and they are unmatched. Perfect plunges, perfect sharpening notches. See if I can show you that. Come on, macro. There you go. And all four blades on these two knives are just perfect in the way that they're executed. Man, aren't they good looking. Now, this one you'll notice is standard GEC finishing. The coloring of the knife handle is normally polished. A little bit of a polished satin along the spine. Just what we're used to seeing from GEC. Now, let's take a look at this one. This is the natural micarta, and it came out, and I don't think we really knew this, at least if it was specified, I missed it. I don't think we knew that these were going to be matte finished micarta. I don't think that canvas micarta in GEC's process polishes very well. To give you a contrast, this is natural canvas micarta from Bark River. Okay? In the polished finish. This is natural canvas micarta matte from GEC. Quite a difference. I don't know if GEC doesn't have the means to polish canvas without making it look bad, or whether they just made a decision on this model. Oh, by the way, yeah, he doesn't ever use his knives. I got a little bit of cardboard goo, I got adhesive, and a little bit of leather dust on my little creek. Yeah, I put it on there just for the video, by the way. So anyway, back to the knife. I don't think guys were expecting this, and I've seen some Facebook and Instagram posts, because I wasn't the only one that got my new 85s today. I am really warming up to it, but guys are not digging it. They are not digging it. If you notice, not only is the micarta matte finished, but the hardware, the shield, bolsters, and caps are what they're calling a rubbed finish, which is a very fine satin. I kind of like it. Sort of reminds me of the Case Bose limited production knives in finishing. And one interesting thing, if we look at the end caps, see how the pinch on the matte finished or rub finish knife is more pronounced because its edges aren't rounded over by the polishing process. I kind of like that. One thing you will notice on these, because they aren't able to polish this, the voids in the milled pocket for the shield that get filled with a resin glue before polishing at the factory are much more noticeable. And you can see the shields don't fit exactly. So that's there. And another thing I noticed with the blades open, that the edges of the liners are sharp. During normal coloring, when they apply the more polished finish, I think these sharp corners get knocked off a little bit, and they get you. They grab the skin. However, other than that, the finishing level on the natural micarta knife is akin to the Farm and Field series, frankly. It doesn't mean they're not precise, because they are. Look at the centering again. Both blades right down the middle. Back springs look great. And typical GEC, the blade wells are beautiful. Just gorgeous looking there. I was really kind of bummed. Like I said, when I saw these knives in production, saw how the handles were looking. But now that I have them, I really kind of dig this knife. It has its own personality, kind of a one-of-a-kind knife in the GEC lineup. And it's not poorly finished. It's just matte finished with rubbed or satin hardware. Everything's nice and smooth. No gaps, no steps, no catch points. I just dig them. So here's my Sunday go to meeting bullet end jack, and here's my EDC bullet end jack. And by the way, how did that gorgeous, thin, broad spear point blade come out? After sharpening, I think pretty well. I should have brought more paper. Nice and quiet. Just love the way GEC grinds their blades, and love that Peter's heat treat. Oh, guys. Sticky. Sticky sharp. We like sticky sharp. This is one I've been waiting to add to my collection for some time. And they're finally here. And I'm so glad that I didn't get all bent out of shape from looking at them in pictures, and waited till they actually showed up before I formed an opinion, because I like them, and I like them both. And they're so different for being so much the same. Thought you'd like to see them. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word is sharp.